Cheers. Hi all, cheers for turning up today. There's more of you than I thought. I thought it was like just bits actually. Yes, I'm here to talk about Meshtastic. As I said, it could be great one day. It's actually a lot better than I thought because it's actually been a lot of updates in the last 2 months. Huge amount of updates. Was anyone at the mini-meet when I gave the last talk? No? Has anyone used Meshtastic or any mesh events? We've got one over there. Anyone else? 2. So we've got 2. Oh, brilliant. That's really, really good. It fascinates me. I just want to give a little introduction on myself. There's me, beautiful. There's me at 15 years old. Always had a massive love for radios. I have no idea why. I always really struggled with talking. I've got started therapy all the way through my childhood and my early adult life. But I was always fascinated with radio. I have no idea why. But I absolutely love the CB radio. I actually recently recently, a year, I'm a licensed ham radio user. That's my call sign. Mike 7 Hotel India. Any radio operators in the room? Oh, got one over there. Awesome.
Pirate radio.
Oh, that's fine. That's fine. That's absolutely fine. Yeah, so the thing with me is I'm highly dyslexic. I struggle with talking and with words, which is a bit odd that I love radio and I love text messages. It's a bit of a conundrum. I still don't understand it, but I've always loved it. This was me at 15, and I beta tested the Vodafone pay-as-you-go system in 1998. How I got involved in that was that my mum, I come from a very poor background, we bought everything with catalogues that you pay £2 a week to get your stuff or whatever. And there was a form in the catalogue that my mum filled out to say, did you want to test this new mobile phone technology for free? So we got the phone. That's the phone I got. It was a Ringo. This was an analogue phone. So literally the signal would put people smiles in the face. They know your signal would go in and out. You'd hear other people's calls on this. But this was like the start of my love of like mobile technology. Of like it really caught my imagination. It really did. So that leads me to Meshtastic. What is Meshtastic? Meshtastic is a meshing network. It's a mesh network. Google tells me a mesh network is a decentralized communication system where each node device is connected to another node, creating multiple pathways for data transmission. The structure eliminates the need for a central hub, making the network more adaptable and robust. Yes and no. I kind of disagree with that slightly, and I will go into that a little later. Meshtastic is an open source for now. The reason I say for now is because it's actually been bought by a large company. It's a multi-million-dollar company that bought it, so we don't know how long it's going to be open source for. It started as open source, but when it gets purchased, there's no legal reasons for them to keep it open source. So that can be a positive, negative. So, what is Meshtastic? Meshtastic are built on things called nodes. That runs on the LoRa. LoRa is just pretty much long-range radio communication. Easy line of sight, you're going to get 100 mile range from like hilltop to hilltop. This protocol. It's license free. Again, that's good and bad. These are the nodes that they use, and this is a 868 megahertz node. This is the mode. So the entire network are built on things like this. This is just pretty much like your Windows computer that you get to choose what operating system you install on it. We choose to install Meshtastic. So Meshtastic gets loaded onto the node. So, but you get to choose. It's a completely free board, not free to buy, but free. There's no operating system on it, and Meshtastic of it. Who's got wireless headphones here? You've got some over there, yeah? So the data connection between my phone and her headphones, it uses the same amount of throughput of 100 milliamps to connect. That is crazy low. It's crazy to think that you can make 100 mile connections 100 milliamps, and that is limited by the licensing. The largest range I've ever got, and this is I spoke to how we got this. That's quite funny. Is that on my mesh? I was talking to this guy called Richard, North London, and we didn't want to give our postcode, so we gave the nearest Costa to our house. Yeah, the nearest Costa. So from my nearest Costa to Richard's nearest Costa, mine was the Leisure Park's Costa. It was 364 miles. I kept that contact for over a month. We would regularly chat with each other. I couldn't believe it. That's miles. That's over 3/4 of our way up the country. And I was talking on 10 milliamps of power. That is crazy. So that is the same amount of data bandwidth as that you have between your headphones and your phone. That, I found out that blew my mind. Right, here's this. This is an interesting thing because I've got things that are going to contradict each other depending on the personality type. Yeah, pros and cons. So let's just start with the pros. Definitely, it's completely off grid. You wouldn't believe the amount of people I've said that word to. Completely off grid, and they not understand what it means. That means you need nothing. As soon as it's loaded on, you need the initial internet to be able to connect the device and load Meshtastic. But as soon as that Meshtastic's off, loaded, you don't need any connection. So you can use a mobile phone. So the easiest way of working this is you've got your node, you connect Bluetooth to your node, and then you've got access to the Meshtastic network. So that is pretty much acting like your modem to the network, and you don't need anything else, no Wi-Fi, no internet whatsoever. So all our infrastructure can go down, including the power system, and I can go into that a little later. So you can have complete blackout. As long as these nodes are being powered and they're very low powered, this is 1 watt. You can power this directly from a solar panel. Many people do. They put them on roofs with a small solar panel with a small battery, and it keeps going all year. It's completely off grid. It's cheap-ish. So this node what I'm holding here, this is the Haltech version 3, and this will cost you £30 for 2, and you do need 2 of them really. You can get away with just 1. But if you want a home base, you're definitely going to want to use 2 because of the way the mesh works. You want your base, and I'll go into that a little bit later. And you want your mobile node that can connect to the base because then you've got further. So if you get this high up, because height is right when it comes to radios, you keep your one node up and you've got 2. It's £15 for 1. Messages are encrypted. There's 256 encryption built into this. It can be very addictive, which is good. It's when you're saying working like yesterday. I came in and I was working all day yesterday from 7 a.m. to genuinely 12 p.m. last night to get my network back up and running so I could do a demonstration later on. It's exhilarating to see that message pop up. You're like, I did that, it gives you a sense of accomplishment. And you can have your own private channels. So in the Meshtastic, you've got a standard channel called Longfast, and that's what everybody has access to. As soon as you load up, that's your default. So everybody will have a Longfast channel as soon as they update. You can delete that if you want. So if you want it primary, purely just for private channels, you can set it up. So for your friends, family, colleagues, whatever, you can set that up. Most people will still keep the Longfast because you want a broader range if you need to get information out. Cons. As I said, I've got quite a lot of experience in Meshtastic. Before I did the update yesterday, I've spent months with it. So it can take a lot of time to set up your own network. And there are a lot of options to go through to get your network running in a really optimal thing. And the thing with the setting up your own network is it can be hit and miss. You can set everything right, even now, and it still not work right. You can't trust people to get your messages, and it can be inconsistent. So the system can still give you false positive that your message has been received when they haven't. It can be very costly. I just said here though, it can be cheapish, but it can be very costly. It can be costly if you want to set up your own network for yourself. So if you haven't got an established network within your own home or town, that's going to be on you to build that, and then other people add to that. And that's how the network grows when other people jump in. But if you've got no one or just a couple of people, it's going to be up to you to set up the area where you want your network to run. So that's when you can start running into a couple of £100. And then that loops right back to, it can take a lot of time to set up your network. It can be very addictive. I'll put both in. It can kind of take over your life like it did yesterday. I'm one of the owners of the Dice Tower, so I was actually helping set up B-Sides yesterday. But my focus was I just kept on wanting to come back to getting this sorted out. So it can be very, very addictive. No offline messages. Right, this is something that I've got to show a demonstration. I've got a participant here that's going to help me. So this is going to demonstrate one of the limitations of Meshtastic that, again, people don't seem to understand. So my assistant's just going to go to the back of them. Alright, there we go. Just want to make sure the radio's on. Right. Is it on?
It's on.
Alright, 1 second. Oh, wait, we tried this earlier.
1, 4, 5, 5, 8, 8.
Oh.
It's 1, 4, 5, 5.
Yeah, that's right, yeah.
5, 0, 0.
Oh, right.
Yeah. Okay. This is Mike 7 for Chell. India, community Q, CQ, CQ. That's Mike 7 for Chell. Echo India, community Q, CQ, CQ.
Yeah, you all heard that, yeah? Yeah, take off.
So.
What I just demonstrate there is that I was given a call out. So as an amateur, there's a calling channel called 145 and you call out hoping to get a contact. But there was 2 differences, weren't there? One was the radio was on, and one was the radio was off. When I gave that transmission on my radio when it was on, you all heard it, because the radio was on. When the radio was turned off, I gave the exact same call out again. I knew I was going to get a response, by the way. I had my radio set to very low power. You couldn't hear it, right? You could also hear me through the door, but you couldn't hear it from the radio. Yeah. Meshtastic is exactly the same. So if your device isn't on and someone sends a message, they're not going to get it. It's exactly the same. So you're talking to the air and hoping someone can hear it. So there's no way. That's why I said right at the beginning there's no centralised server. That's positive and negative because then you could easily miss a message. Not only if your device isn't on, if there's interference, which is my next slide, I'm going to go into detail, there's interference just for a split second and someone sends that message. Once that window of that message transmitting over the network completes, there's no going back. Your message is gone. So you have to resend it and hope that person gets it. And you can get false positives, so I'll show you in a bit, that the message has been delivered. But that I feel is a positive and a negative. It'll be really good to be able to see some offline on your own network. I know there are people that have built some like high devices that have been able to do this, but it's quite complicated and it's well above my head. I've seen it, but it's just literally over my head. The network can be very slow as well. The tick rate of the network. Do we all know what tick rates are of servers? I'm sure we do. Yeah, it's how often a server ticks over. It's incredibly slow on Meshtastic. So it'll check for new nodes and new information from the nodes. Default is at every 10,800 seconds. The reason that is because the bandwidth is so limited. So an estimated throughput data of the entire network of 7 nodes is 9.2 kilobytes per second. That's incredibly slow. That's at peak performance. It's been measured at 2 kilobits per second. So it's incredibly slow. It's not built to have high demanded, rich content go over it. That's why they've stuck with purely messages. They are looking to implement voice using compression. Video, I don't ever. And the way it works right now with the power limitations I've got, I can't ever really see real-time audio. Maybe you're doing small clips, but we'll see. I didn't think Meshtastic was going to come as far as it has since my last talk, so I'm willing to be wrong. The death of the Meshtastic network, this is okay. The death of the Meshtastic network, my home network is dead, long live Meshtastic. Everything's still working. So this was heartbreaking. So this is actually the time that I stopped talking to Richard. We never exchanged like WhatsApp or anything. We quite literally use this. My home network just stopped working. I couldn't work out why. I thought my node was dead, so I bought a couple of new nodes, but nothing changed. And this is by far the biggest weakness and limitation of Meshtastic, and it could easily kill the network. And you've got no control over it. And that is interference. Okay, 868 is a license-free protocol that any manufacturer can use for any application. And the thing with China is that they don't care about the power outputs. So things such as, your lights, temporary lights. You've got one light, they've got roadworks in the middle, you've got another light. They talk to each other wirelessly. That can and very often is on 868 megahertz. And they've been shown to push over 10 watts, which is 100 times more of the power than you've got. So if you've got temporary lights by your house, that can wipe out your signal, and there's not much you can do about it. And also, you've got these things called cycle rates, and these cycle rates on wireless devices, they have to meet criteria where it can only send data for 90% of the time, just to mitigate this issue. The problem is that things like lights, mobile lights, EV chargers, and the reason that my home network died, solar panels. Solar panels killed my network. My neighbour had, I think, 12 kilowatts worth of solar panels put on their roof, absolutely destroyed my network, and I just gave up with it. I was like, I didn't know this at the time. I gave up with it because I knew there was some kind of interference, but I didn't have the energy to figure out what it was. And I found out yesterday exactly why it was, and I mitigated it. So yeah, it can be really heartbreaking. So you can have a really, really good network, spend a lot of money, time, energy into this, and then someone buys an EV, and that will wipe out any chance of you getting any form of any distance on the network. It can work locally, like mine did, but as soon as it tries to pick other nodes from that direction, it can wipe out. And if it's too close to your node, it will quite literally wipe it out completely. Another thing that, to understand with the interference is that when you transmit, you're never just transmitting on 868. It'll go on other frequencies. It's like grabbing a brick and chucking it into a pond, and you get that ripple effect. So you'll be able to physically see other frequencies that you're using by accident. That's what happened with like solar panels and EV chargers. They spurs out onto other frequencies. This is my Meshtastic that I built yesterday. So I got my Meshtastic working. How I did that is I moved my Meshtastic from one side of the house to the other, and that made a clear link. So this is my home network here. So that is my main node. Lucky enough, I live on the highest point of Bastow. It's 143 metres above sea level. We're at the top of Winkleberry. So that means I get some really, really good connections. I've reconnected to all my nodes. So that's my tablet downstairs. That's a Samsung Tab S9, I think, plus. And this is my mobile node. This is I love having this. This is my car. I've got a power bank car that runs this. So this connects to this. This connects to the bigger network. And then wherever I go, I've got my LilyGo. So I talk about how you can use your node with your phone, but there are independent devices like LilyGo. This was a brick when I bought it. It was completely pointless. I've actually you've got the LilyGo T-Deck, and you've got the T-Deck Plus. You've got the one that you can build yourself. This is a 3D printed case that I got that you can build yourself. I thought they were a complete waste of money. They cost about £100, and they were pretty much useless with the stock UI that came with Meshtastic. There's been massive jumps in the updates for these, and now these are completely useful, and I'm really happy that I've got them. It means that my network, I've been testing it all yesterday, works. Demo time. Let's see if this works. Yeah, I've built a network. Hopefully, my wife's going to be. So it's 3.1 miles away. It's going to be private connection. There's only 2 hops. So what I'm going to be doing is I am going to be using my T-Deck. This is the home build. That's the thing I love about these, is that you can still use them Bluetooth or serial connection to access the network. Right, should we see if this works? Yeah, let's see if it works. I hope so. So we go to the Meshtastic. I'm using the web client. There is a this isn't. This is this is the web client. I'm going to go sting through this. So we go to serial. Connected to the serial. Here we are. We've got access to all these nodes. This is an invasion zone. So I've actually got, because I was going to bring my car in, so I normally park my car in the car park which connects to my home node. I built a node with a battery pack, which is actually on one of the posts outside, which disconnects to that, and I connect to the broader mesh. So hopefully, as you see, there's no messages here. So all these people could have been talking all morning. I won't have a clue, because I've just loaded in, because the network doesn't store the messages. Here we go. That's what I thought. So we know it's gone. Did you hear that noise? That's sent to my TDEC Plus. So let's hope it's got a tick. So that means it's got onto the network. This is a bit where we'll see if there's any response. I do have 2 children now. Yeah.
Explicit instruction.
Literally, yeah. We got a 1-year-old who decides that he's pretty much wants to kill himself. Let's see.
Does that mean...
exactly that. So that means that the network, and I definitely know that the network's got it, but I don't think my wife is at the... She's not at that, you know, that tablet I showed you? I set it all up, and we were talking actually before the message, and I don't think she's there. Oh my god.
Oh, it's the joy of demos.
Yeah, that's it. Demos. It is the joys of demos. So, I actually prepared for this. So what I can, if I'm going to get a reply, is that I can go show you how complicated the can be to set up. Because when you get sent one of these, it will come blank, and when you load it on your Meshtastic onto the node, it still needs configuring. And you do that by configuration. So, in the configuration, this is the important part, and a lot of people skip over this. This is where you set your region. So we're running, as I said, on 686 because that's the license-free. That's the license-free band. So, but you have to select that. It comes as unset. Can you see this? So it comes unset, so it's still clear. So it doesn't know what country it comes from. You just loaded the data onto it. There we go. And this hops. So this is really important. I set my 7 because the network can deal with it now. Before, the default was 3, so it really limited the range of the range of your network. So then hops, what you understand, is that how many hops from one to the other. So when I was talking to Richard, it was 7 when the network was quite unstable. I'm really excited to see if I can still get back to him to see how good it was, because it would still take a good 20 or 30 seconds to get a reply each way. I'd love to see the improvements. Let's not do that. So here's another one, another thing I want to cover. As you see this 433, so that isn't license free. That is reserved for ham users. So that means myself and that gentleman over there, we can set ourselves up a Meshtastic network that only we can use as ham users because it's licensed. So it doesn't mean we can have that. You're not going to do that because there's better options for mesh networking for ham users, but the option is there. And if you see, all these are mainly license free. The option to be licensed.
Is the 433 long range?
So yeah. So the way it works is that it's always a pit. So you'll get longer range on 433. No, wait. We're going down. Yeah, you get long range, but it's easier to interfere with, and the reason you get longer range is because it's got bigger hops. So I don't mean hops in the node, I mean the actual signal itself. So how many times it needs to bounce to get to, that's how signals work, that they bounce. So you'll get a better range, but it's easier to interfere with. I'm hoping, I've just got a vibration on my phone, that way we go get, oh no messages yet. Oh no, let's try again. Let's try again, no messages yet.
The region stays unset.
I hope not, because it needs to reset anyway. So whenever you change this, it's very nice. So it's all gone. It's all back to what it was. We were messaging fine this morning. let's have another go. Let's do this. Let's try it. So definitely get into the network. Network, yeah, there we go. and this should show up now.
Will be received.
It's not. No, it should be almost instant. Because it's going out, it's not receiving. Well, that's demos for you, isn't it?
Yeah.
That is demos. I was just going to see if she replies back on if it's that node. But remember when I said right at the beginning?
Oh.
Yeah? That was me.
Oh.
Yes! Yes, it worked! It worked. Come on, at least we got a mess up there. Look at that. But, this is again, you remember that I was saying about how things can interfere? I sent a message before that on here saying testing for B-sides. But another said hello afterwards. It's not showed the testing for B-sides. So there's been some kind of interference that blocks that from connecting to this. Even though it's right there, it still might be connecting to the node outside to connect to this one. Because you're trusting the network. You have no control over that. That's a shame. That is a shame. That really is a shame. But I will refer back to this. This. Could be great one day. You know what I mean? If we've got more control over the network and more control in the software, it's going to give us a more, as I said, it's a more responsive. What did I say in the negatives here? Do you remember I was saying this? It just proved my point. I was talking last night with the B-side staff here, no problem. I was so happy. I've got messages. The thing with this, I haven't turned it off, so the message is still there. We got messages all night last night from us testing when I was sat in where that gentleman lay in the back was. I was sat there talking all night, eating my dinner, feeling rather smug about myself. But oh well, it is. Again, it just proves the point of the comms. It's inconsistent. So that is a failed demonstration, but it's really kind of confirming what I was saying about with the presentation. Questions?
I oversaw this MQTT on the options.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter reliable message.
So the queue, it depends on, they have to use the same server. Yeah, they have to use the same server, don't they? But the reason I haven't gone into that is because, me personally, is that this is supposed to be off-grid. It's supposed to be an off-grid solution. So what I want personally is to be able to use this if the internet goes down. So I want it to be consistent within itself before needing a backup.
Yeah, but MQTT is just approachable traffic over that network. It doesn't require internet.
But it uses the internet as well.
Does it?
Yeah. If you go into the MQQ settings, it's not something I've delved into. But my understanding of it is, if I go back into this, my understanding of it is that you give it a address that your internet uses. Is in there.
That's not sure on the site.
So, hang on. Oh, it's not it. That's fine. I can get that up. Let's have a look. One new message. Hello, Basingstoke. Hey! I got it. Oh, hell yeah. Let's see if it actually is on. Oh, look at this. Look at this. Here we go. I can actually show you guys. Well, I've decided to go back on myself. But look, if we go in, I've not clicked it yet. Let's see what that message says. Where is it? Where is it? Where is it?
But the notification.
The notification is there. The notification was there. Why isn't it? That is proof. You see what I mean? Yeah, like it showed that the message must have been received, but it's showing up on here. It's obviously not going to be on the same. That is crazy. So it's in there. It's not there. Damn. Again, I think this actually helps the presentation. There we go. Here it does. So anyway, back to the queue. My understanding is that it uses the internet as a backup. You might use network, it may do, but I know that there is a field where you fill in the port and the address. We don't want to see them. Right, off there a bit. Right, any more questions? Correct.
Good presentation. I wasn't aware of this thing at all.
Oh, thank you.
I've got 4 links across 3 different languages.
Yeah. That would be amazing.
Can you run just possibly the hardware requirements?
So there are. So you can go onto the Meshtastic website and got a full list of boards that are compatible. But the thing that they don't go into with Meshtastic, they'll give you a list of the boards, but the board is completely useless without a really good antenna. So to have a good understanding of antenna theory, so you'd want really a Yagi pointed at that direction, because it's so low powered. You want the smallest amount of wire going from your board to the antenna and pointed at where you're going. So a lot of people have literally inch of cable at the end of their antenna because it's got such low power usage and pointed at that. Hence why I wasn't using the Yagi, but Richard was. It was pointed south, just by luck, which made him be able to connect to us. I actually spoke to my wife when I was in. This was a while back when I was in Fleet. I didn't think it was going to work. We do Costco in Fleet. I was sending them a message from the car, and it worked. £15 each. That is my advice there. It really is, and it's fun. It really is fun. When you get that message, I know it felt today, but when you get the message come through, you feel a sense of accomplishment. Like, I've just wasted my life. Brilliant. You don't question your options. See more questions? Brilliant, love it. Last time I had none. I thought I sucked.
I've got two. One, can some mobile phones have antennas or the 868 signals? And also, is there any way so they actually fight back against the solar panel spurs and the traffic spurs and they kind of block?
I love that. That's a really, really good question. So no to the first question. You have to have a separate, this is like a bespoke board that you need the software to run in. You can't run it on your phone. I think there's no reason why these can't be installed on normal mobile phones. If you want to do that, I highly recommend you invest in a T-Deck. The T-Deck has a really lovely UI. You see the UI? It's all touchscreen, so you can send your messages. So hopefully it didn't work, did it, before? But I sent a message. But literally, go into this, you go, and you just type a message. And that sends there. So it's like an old BlackBerry. So it's trying to get away from the phone. So you've got the app on the phone, but this negates need to have a phone whatsoever. So it changes that. But yeah, I think that there's no reason why a mobile phone can't have like a project phone, let's say, have a VTech or something equivalent to it where you can load it on. So it'll be like two things running at the same time.
In terms of questions, if anyone wants to run away and launch now, you're welcome to leave. And then also, continue to sit in front, ask questions away. But just giving everyone the option because launches and everything. So, once again, thank you.
No worries.
Thank
you very much. Thank you. If anyone wants to have a little play and maybe get a reply, come on to me, I'll let you play with some Meshtastic. Thank you for coming today. Thank you very much. Cheers.